And thank you for having me here. Thank you. And thank you for focusing on the mental aspects of emergency medicine. That's awesome. So, as you just said, John, my name is Karina. I'm a psychologist. I'm from Denmark, and I work in the Danish healthcare sector, primarily in emergency medicine. And also, I work in the Danish Health Service, where I have been doing research focusing upon mental well-being in these highly specialized personnel. And for somehow it seems appropriate here in this with you kind of people to mention that before I started working in the Danish healthcare service, I worked as a crisis psychologist in the Danish army. So I also been deployed to Afghanistan and to Iraq with the Danish Armed Forces. So, however, I'm not going to talk to you about my experience with the military today or about my research. Instead, I will be focusing upon resilience. Since being resilient is, if you ask me, it's what makes the difference between being good when working under pressure and being brilliant when working under pressure. And who doesn't want to be brilliant? So that's what we're going to talk about. So more specifically, I will be talking about what it means to be resilient. Also, I will be giving you an introduction to a hand model of the brain, which is a really easy way to illustrate how the brain reacts when we are performing under pressure. And most importantly, I will be doing a resilience training exercise with you this morning. So let's turn to resilience. The term resilience originally has its roots in the world of science and physics. For example, in physics, resilience refers to the resilience in metal, as a resilient metal is able to bend and bounce when under stress, instead of breaking. So resilience is the ability to bounce back. When turning to psychological resilience, the term is defined as the ability to bounce back when you find yourself in situations that otherwise could bring you off balance. It is the ability to rebuild personal resources quite quickly when under pressure. So, in other words, resilience is actually knowing yourself well enough to know how you react under pressure. It's knowing the kind of reaction that you have, but also how to get yourself back in control. So for me, for instance, you could say that when I'm under pressure, if I'm stressed out, I would start to talk really fast, or I would start making decisions or acting without thinking, or I could even forget to pay attention to the people around me. So all of that would probably make me perform worse than if I didn't have these kind of reactions. So for me, it's the first step to do something about it is to know that this is how I react. So I have learned that for me, it's a good idea to take a deep breath, to take a step back, to evaluate the situation, find out, okay, count to 5. What is the best thing to do here? And also to remind myself to keep people around me in the loop. So resilience is all about knowing how do I react under pressure, but even more importantly, what can I do in order to get these reactions under control? So it sounds quite easy, and some people also mistakenly believe that resilience is all about being a badass motherfucker who can handle almost everything and who is resistant to stress. But however, that's just nonsense, because resilience is the opposite. Resilience is paying attention to your emotions, your thoughts, and the signals from your body. That's very important. So it sounds easy, but it can be quite difficult, especially if you're not used to paying attention to the signals from your body, your emotions, and your thoughts. So in order to enhance understanding and also acceptance of how we react when under pressure, I'll just quickly run you through what happens in our human brain when under pressure. So because knowing how the brain reacts and knowing why we react on instincts when in emergency situations, and also how stress affects our emotion and our cognition, helps us to understand what's going on. So, just a minute before. So, okay, when I talk about the brain, I always use my hand, because if you see, if I do like this could resemble a brain. Can you see the little brain up here? This one. Right. So, but also you could also look at the picture of the brain. So this could resemble a brain, and this is my brain stem. And this right here is my reptile brain. So the reptile brain is the oldest part of our human brain. It's the part of the brain we have in common with animals. This part of the brain is responsible for all our instincts and our automatic behavior. It bypasses our conscious thoughts. It has to do with basic survival mechanisms and overlearned skills. So this part of the brain allows us for rapid responses in emergencies. So this happens without us thinking about it. For you, it would be like you could instantly start to perform CPR without thinking about it. Or soldiers would instinctively fire back when under attack, and they do that without thinking about it. So actually in the military, we call this state of mind as being in battle mind. We act without thinking. So, and here in the middle of our brain is the limbic system, and there is a very important little structure, an almond-shaped structure called amygdala. And here on my hand model, amygdala is my thumb. So, amygdala, you can think of the amygdala as the brain's alarm system, and the alarm is triggered in response to danger and in response to stressful and unfamiliar conditions. And when the alarm is triggered, it sends a signal to the body. It's like, do something or you will get hurt. And then the body reacts by sending a signal to the rest of the body, which starts the body's primary stress response systems, which is fight, flight, or freeze. And all of this happens outside our conscious control. So, and here we have the upstairs brain. This is our cortex, and particularly the prefrontal cortex. That's the most advanced part of our human brain. It has to do with rational reasoning, problem solving, storage of knowledge. It has to do with, and very importantly, it has to do with inhibiting our impulses and moderating and regulating our emotions. So, very important part of the brain. So you could say that this upstairs part of the brain, this part of the brain, this is reasonable and slow, whereas the lower part of the brain is more quick and sometimes even dirty. So what I like about the hand model of the brain is that you can see how the prefrontal cortex, you see how it kind of put a lid on all of our instincts and the quick and dirty parts of our brain. So this makes sure that we act as reasonable and civilized people, not giving in to our instinctive and dirty parts of the brain. Even though, having spent some days with you guys, some of you could have me fooled. But so as you sit here, most of you, your brain will be like this. You are capable of thinking rationally and acting accordingly. So, however, if you find yourself in stressful situation, unfamiliar situation, and the amygdala is triggered, it's a totally different story. Because when the amygdala is triggered, cortisol is released in order to make the body act. And while cortisol makes the body ready for action, it also inhibits some of the important brain functions in the prefrontal cortex. So you can think of it as if cortisol makes this part of the brain go offline, or as if cortisol makes the lid flip. You see this? So the lid flips, and when the lid flips, so we're kind of fucked, because when the lid is flipped, there's nothing to keep our instinct and the quick and dirty parts of our brain from kind of boiling over. And when this happens, when this boils over, this is when you go from being kind of a reasonable person to having difficulties controlling your thoughts and controlling your emotions. This is when you start to lose focus. This is when you start to make bad decisions. This is when you act without thinking. This is when you have emotional outbursts and you start yelling at other people, and even you lose your sense of connecting with others. So you can say that all of this would definitely have a negative impact on your performance. So now you go from being a reasonable person to being like the worst version of yourself, affecting your performance, but also the way you think about yourself. So resilience is all about noticing when the lid is about to come off. So if you're able to notice with yourself that now this is happening, the lid is about to come off, the sooner the better you can notice it, then you can be able to do something to make the lid stay in place, which will make you perform your best. So you are all different people. It's different things that will make your lid flip open. And also it's different things that will make you or help you to keep the lid in place. However, your body definitely will tell you when this is about to happen. All you have to do is pay attention to it. And you can practice this. It is possible to practice yourself to paying attention to what happens in my body. And when you notice it, you can do something about it. It's also different techniques. It's different what works for you in order to get the lid back in place. So also this you can train. But first of all, you will have to pay attention to it. So in fact, right now we will do what I call an emotional awareness exercise. So now I need for you to find a partner. Preferably, find someone you don't know, someone you haven't been talking to at this in these 3-4 days. So you get up, you find a partner. So that's a job for you right now. So get the cheese moving around in your body. Find a partner. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah, everybody, does everybody have a partner? Okay, sorry for that. Does everybody have a partner? Does someone doesn't have a partner? Raise your hand. There we have one here. Who? Okay, and in the back. Okay, now stand up with your partner. Okay, so this exercise, with this exercise, I will try to induce a little bit of stress. So some of you will find it uncomfortable. That's the whole point of it. So the job for you is now to pay attention to what happens in my body. What do I feel compelled to do? So what you will do in 1 minute, you will, can I borrow you for a second, sir? If you come here. So in 1 minute, you just take my hands here, and you will be standing like this with your partner, looking in the eyes. Try not to talk, just for 75 seconds. 75 seconds, that's it. Look your partner in the eye. Say nothing, okay? Thank you so much. I will time you. So, are you ready? Grab your partner's hand. Perfect. And quietly, no talking. And then you go ahead. Time has started.
Every night in my dreams, I see you, I feel you. That is how I know you. Go on. Far across the distance and spaces between us, you have come to show you. Go on. Near, far, wherever.
Thank you. Okay. No, you can leave the light on. You can please leave the light on. It's okay. So, okay. Does some of you just want to share what did you feel in your body in this exercise?
Put your hands up and I'll give
Some
you a
of
mic.
you want to share? Yeah, yep. Here, down. Yeah.
Sweating.
Sweating.
Vigorous sweating.
I can see you sweating from here. Right. Others.
Breath stacking.
What?
Breath stacking.
Yeah, breath
Unable
stacking.
to exhale.
Other people, do you reckon this? Did you also feel the sweating, the breath stacking? Some of you nodding. Yeah. Other kinds of body reactions. What happened?
I wanted to sing.
You felt like singing along, right? Yes. Okay. Other kind of reactions.
Tension and then laughing.
Tenderness and loving.
No. Was that tension and laughing or tenderness and loving?
Right. I laughing.
Well, that's
yeah,
up to
I know. But, that's just me. That's just what the song does to me. Okay. Laughing. Right. Yeah. A lot of you did the laughing, right? Okay. So why did you do the laughing? Yeah, it takes off the tension. It's like a defense mechanism. This is weird. I start laughing. Okay. So a lot of you felt these body signals. You felt the sweaty, maybe some of you felt the sweaty palms. And then when you feel the sweaty palms, you start thinking, oh shit, now she feels or he feels that I have sweaty palms. You get really self-absorbed with you. And how do I look? Do I blink with my eyes? You remember? Yeah. Some of you maybe felt like your cheeks reddening, or you felt the chiggling up the back. So all of this is important information for you. So many of you felt like this is kind of uncomfortable. And then you laughed because laughing reduces feeling uncomfortable. So what else did you do? Because I did this exercise many times. Once I tried that a person was like, went up and left and got angry with me because this was silly, And I love when that happens because, it's a perfect defense mechanism, like playing out in the room. But you guys, none of you actually made a scene out of this. You were actually quite good at staying in the job. So what made you stay doing what I told you to do, even though you felt uncomfortable? What did you do? What were your techniques? Some of you want to share. What did you do? What were you thinking? Yeah?
I just started to breathe slowly and release the tension with breathing.
Okay, good. So you try to relax. I take a deep breath, release the tension. Someone nodding. Okay. Other people, what did the rest of you?
I focused on counting seconds.
Yes, you were counting seconds, right.
How much longer will this go on?
Yeah. You see, that's also an important. You know this is gonna end, and that helps you. So some people say to me, I was thinking about what to buy for my kids when I go home. What do I want to eat tonight? Like you do mental distraction, right? Yeah, Michael.
I decided I may as well enjoy it, so I smiled to my new acquaintance and said, "Oh, we may as well have a good time here."
Right. Yes. So. You adjusted yourself. Okay, so what happened to your partner when you started smiling?
I thought he smiled back.
He probably did. Did you notice? Did you notice in this exercise how your emotions are contagious? If your partner started laughing, you laughed as well. If your partner was calm, it was easier to stay calm. Did you notice that? Because that's quite important. So you can like kind of lend each other your nervous system. So if you're calm, you can help your colleague to stay calm. So that's also important. Okay? So other strategies you used in order to stay doing this, even though it was uncomfortable. Some people,
We sort of created a team and was like, yes, we can do this.
Yeah, we can do this.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw some of you looking away, like, try, and you start talking. You do like small talk also, because it's uncomfortable, you do small talk. So this little exercise is just to bring your attention to what happens in the body when I am distressed. Because the signals you feel here, you're probably not used to paying attention to it. But you can train yourself in order to pay attention to what's going on in my body. Because when you notice it, you can do something about it. And also what you can do is that you can specifically try to focus on what works for me. So, okay, it works for me to count. It works for me to think of something else. It works for me to just acquainted with the situation. So I gave you this little exercise. Go back home, find out what are my reactions, how can I handle them, and also this hand model of the brain is kind of to give you a hand gesture you can use, and you can communicate with your colleagues like I'm like this right now. Okay, so help me out. Okay, lend me your nervous system because this is happening. So you don't need words. You can just communicate like this, this is going on for me right now. And this is not just you. This is your patients, your families, your wife, your kids, and everything has this brain. So have a safe trip back home. Maybe I'll see you in the bar later today. And then our brains will be like this.